Hi guys, Ashley here. Welcome to this new episode of Ashley's Digital China. Today we're going to talk about social commerce and what can global brands learn from China. Well, let's start with what is social commerce and why are we learning from China? China is a powerhouse when it comes to social commerce, and essentially social commerce is using social media platforms to not just do marketing and branding, but also to complete the transaction. Today in China, very few platforms are purely social media or purely e-commerce. Typically, both of these functions are kind of merged together, making it the most exciting social commerce ecosystem in the world. And of course, with this abundance of unique platforms and functions and very digital consumers, this is the market where a lot of concepts were tested before COVID and of course tested during COVID. So there are tons and tons of things that we can learn. While social commerce is a big topic everywhere, it's still just the beginning. Let's take a look at some numbers. Well, global sales revenues for social commerce will be around $1.6 trillion within the next 3 years. In China, social commerce has accounted for more than 13% of the total e-commerce sales in 2021. However, while social commerce has gained a foothold in China and the East, a lot of Southeast Asian countries are also learning from China's experience and then building abundant and exciting functions and platforms to help complete transactions more socially and casually. In the West, let's call it that, the collective West, the full integration of social commerce functions is not yet great. This being said, the stage is already set for the global growth of social commerce, and it is projected to grow 29% annually between 2020 to 2028. And while the East is doing a bit better, or a lot better, in the West, so to say collective West, the foothold of social commerce is still a lot weaker. But the pandemic has definitely helped with digitizing and socializing a lot of aspects of marketing and sales. There are many ways to categorize social e-commerce platforms, but the most commonly used one is dividing the whole industry map into 5 categories. Number 1 is called comprehensive, and one example here could be, for example, Tmall. Why is it not just an e-commerce platform? Because Tmall has a lot of social functions. It has their own community, content creation hub, bloggers, etc. Right now, all of Chinese e-commerce platforms are actually investing in developing their social features. So this is nothing that's gonna end anytime soon. This is only gonna become stronger and better. The second category is obviously live streaming, and there are tons of platforms, for example Kwai or Taobao Live, that enable this feature, and some of the platforms such as Douyin can also be centered around this feature. So live streaming sales are popular. They unite entertainment, education and sales, of course, while the blogger is curating the products for their customers. Number 3 is community driven. So community driven social commerce is typically done on platforms such as Baby Tree, that focuses on women and children care, or Poison, that focuses on shoes and other products for youngsters. Community is all about curation, content and social links. Number 4, distribution. So these are platforms that want to essentially activate social commerce through their unique supply chain. Such platforms as, for example, Kaola Jingxuan or Beidian or Yunji, they are all falling into this category. And finally, we have discount stores, where people who are hunting for good deals can find their delight. We have Pinduoduo, we have tons and tons of platforms that were launched in the past 3-4 years when all Chinese tech giants were building their own discount store ecosystem. And now we are ready to look at the 5 lessons from China that your brand can learn about the future of social commerce. Let's start with this. Number 1, direct to consumer is the driving force of social commerce. DTC is a fantastic model for social commerce, and it essentially allows the brand to cut out the middleman and become that face and force that communicates with consumers directly. On the one hand, it is very difficult for a brand to handle so many different things, because you need to be not only doing marketing and sales and funnels and advertising and customer service and supply chain, many extraordinary difficult things, but you also have the power to connect with your consumer at a different level, co-create products together, receive faster and better and deeper feedback, build a community, and ultimately the cost of doing business at the initial stages is high, but cost of doing business later will be a lot lower. So direct to consumer allows you to cut out, for example, these expensive advertising platforms that are requiring you, when you already have a social media community, let's imagine on Instagram, they require you to pay to play, right? If you want to reach your own users, you need to pay advertising dollars. And every time you make a sale, you're making a loss because your advertising expenses are very high, right? So in China, it has already reached that stage that it's very difficult to run ROI positive advertising, especially for new products or brands that are not known or not going through this hype period. So direct to consumer allows a brand to keep the relationship with customer close and tight, so that every time I want to reach out and knock on my customer's door or have a conversation, I don't need to pay a third-party intermediary. Based on the recent survey, 74% of consumers are actually basing their purchasing decisions on what they see on social media. Hence, D2C model is again a perfect fit here. So to take advantage of the D2C model, you don't just need great data and personalization. You also need workforce, you need customer service, and you need systems that help you manage and communicate with customers. And of course, you need to have a very powerful content hub, because social commerce is very content driven. A lot of brands in China today are using platforms such as WeChat Work to connect the back end and communicate with customers one-on-one, right? So the shop assistants add their customers onto their work WeChat account, and through this WeChat account, a lot of customers receive information on the wall, in the groups, in private messages, and slowly and gradually a personal relationship is developed with the salesperson. If this specific salesperson is leaving the brand, then his or her colleague can take over this specific account and maintain and nurture the relationships. So again, labor heavy at this particular moment, but with cooler digitalization and personalization, better algorithms, smarter virtual assistants, this is really going to be a big hit. Number two, the rise of KOCs. Yes, key opinion consumers are simple, ordinary consumers who are creating content on a regular basis. It can be live streams, short videos, microblogs, posts, and typically they share their daily life or a point of their specific interest. While they have a respectable amount of followers, many of them have between 3,000 to 5,000 followers, they are not really celebrities or professional bloggers. So you need to establish a relationship with them from a much more personal standpoint. What can KOCs help you do? Well, you can give them samples to try. You can ask for their feedback on the product. You can co-create products with them. And very often they drive social commerce by their honest and kind of unbiased reviews of your product. So that's how it works. And that is why you cannot just have 10 KOCs per quarter. Typically, you need an army, and the army creates a huge chamber effect, right? When there's a lot of content about you online, it just multiplies. So to address the rise of KOCs, and there's no escape from that, brands must integrate them into not just their marketing plan and ask them to review products honestly, but also into their research and development stages, in their marketing, in their sales, in their so many different cycles of business. Microbloggers, of course, exist outside of China as well, but the effective pooling, managing, monitoring, and unleashing systems are probably best developed in China right now. So there's a lot to learn there. At the same time, when it comes to inviting your KOCs to be part of the whole brand story from the start, from the research and development to the actual launch and continuous marketing, word of mouth sales, etc. China has also succeeded with many of Chinese most popular domestic brands are following D2C model powered by KOCs. Number 3, radical simplification of digital experiences. Yes, you need to make sure that your experience and your customer journey is simple, easy, and clear. Streamlining logistics and making sure that the journey is pain-free, according to online surveys, is number 1 point when it comes to retaining customers. So digital experiences also need to be exciting and diverse. You need to launch and test new functions, and about 80% of functions that, for example, Douyin is launching, they are failing, but 20% that succeed are becoming popular and workable models. So test a lot of different things, pick what's working, and then most importantly, radically simplify the customer journey. 4, you guessed it, gamification is the key. Indeed, within the digital world, 23% of Gen Z Chinese report playing the majority of the week, 4 out of 7 days. And what do they play? Well, it can be a social media game to gain some credits and points. You can be raising your own Tamagotchi online. It can be Candy Crush, so to say, on your mobile phone, or a very sophisticated console game. About 70% of Gen Zs in China play daily. So within an increasing percentage of people spending more time on their phones during the pandemic, for example, gamification of e-commerce and social media is becoming not just a trend, but a reality that we all need to follow. It is estimated that by 2026, the Chinese gamification market will reach $38.7 billion US. This is a 5-fold increase in the industry's worth versus 2019. So within this trend, therefore, it is important for brands to engage and gamify their journeys, right? So we just now spoke about radical simplification, but it needs to still be fun, so we gamify it as well. And games on social media platforms and within social commerce can be extremely simple. For example, you can stare at the phone and they ask you to do a certain movement, right? You do this movement with your phone in your hand and the filter recognizes it and you collect points like this, right? Or you can play a game with your eyes or with your face. You can compete with others, so it's fun. You can gain points, so there's a benefit, and you kind of kill time, you spend time, and you feel more relaxed because you take your mind off other things in your life again. So gamification is the way to go, and the way China does it is, again, extremely interesting. Platforms such as Kuaishou and Douyin and even Alibaba's Tmall are great at gamifying experiences for younger generation and even for older ones. Number 5 is finally live shopping. Indeed, live streaming is an important part of social commerce, and with the development of technology, 6G coming to China in 2030, we're going to see only more of that because internet is going to be faster. The things that we can transmit electronically will become more abundant. Some even talk about the internet of feelings, where you will be able by 2035 or so transmit sense digitally and even have holograms, live streaming holograms. So think about live streaming as the step in between the arrival into real metaverse, so to say, or blended reality, from where we are right now. Right now it's just the digitalization era, and then there will be post-digital era, right? So this link is extremely important. We have about 10 years to learn how to sell to people in a fun, entertaining, educational way, so that later on we can also transport those experiences into, let's say, holographic form, into the virtual worlds, and get this going. In China already today, we have universities that train people to become live streamers. Yes, you can get a major in becoming a blogger, live streamer, etc. At the same time, there's a lot of education centers like colleges. If you don't get to university, you can start a college at the age of 15 or 16, do it for 3 years and get professional education. So many salespeople in China that used to be traditional sales are actually going through this training. And the core of this training is how to appear on camera, how to sell, how to talk, how to move. Very powerful skills that we, for the future of commerce, all need to learn. So think about it. First of all, investing in live streaming commerce makes you learn about it, makes you also learn what are the tricks and secrets of trade in China. You can apply it in other global markets where they're still a bit lagging behind. At the same time, training your in-house team and your in-house salespeople to become better at live streaming and digital sales is also a very, very crucial skill. To conclude, social commerce is here and it is here to stay. And you can learn so much from China's experience to shorten your own learning curve in your home market. If you need help understanding China, learning from China, or marketing in China, do get in touch. I'll be happy to connect you with my team. Have a great day, guys. Stay tuned for more videos to come on a variety of China digital topics. Have a great day, and as always, we chat soon.